first thing you should know about Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars is that it's not a 2D top-down GTA like the first two games in the series. Chinatown Wars actually has a lot more in common with GTA 3 and the games that have come after it than it does with those older games. And what's really amazing is that it's set in the same instantly recognizable Liberty City as GTA 4. You play as a guy called Huang Li, who flies to Liberty City from Hong Kong after learning that his father, a triad boss, has been murdered. Your plan at the start of the game is to find his killers and avenge his death, but there's a power struggle going on within the triads as different guys vie for the right to become the new boss, and so predictably you become embroiled in that war. As in other GTA games, you advance the story by completing missions for key characters, who on this occasion include a triad uncle, other high-ranking triads, and an undercover detective, to name but a few. Most of the missions are what you expect from a GTA game. You have to steal a car, or you have to kill some people, and you have to avoid getting caught by the police. There's a lot of variety in Chinatown Wars though, and a lot of it comes courtesy of the stylus and touchscreen. There are a lot of things you can do with the stylus and touchscreen in Chinatown Wars, most of which you can avoid doing more than once if you really want to. Tattooing a guy while using the stylus as a needle, for example, is something that you have to do once to complete a mission. You can then go back and make some money in the tattoo studio anytime you like, or you can avoid ever doing it again. Same goes for Molotov cocktails. You can make those yourself at a gas station, or, if you prefer, just order them online from the Ammunition website. The touchscreen even comes into play when you steal cars in Chinatown Wars, but only if the car is parked. If you jack a car as it's driving by, you just pull the driver out and hop in as usual. But when you steal a car that's stationary, there's a good chance that one of 3 quick minigames will kick in. You might have to work the ignition with a screwdriver, you might have to unscrew a plate from the steering column and hotwire it, or you might have to hack the immobilizer by inputting a PIN number. These mini-games, like all of the touchscreen stuff, are seamlessly integrated into the game, they don't last for very long, and they're generally fun, even though they're not very challenging. When you're not using the stylus to complete a mini-game, GTA Chinatown Wars plays a lot like any other GTA game. The controls are all mapped to the same buttons, and the only real difference is that switching between weapons and throwing grenades are both handled on the touchscreen. There are sprint and jump buttons for when you're on foot, and when you're driving around you can use the handbrake to slide around corners. The controls are really easy to pick up, which is just as well, because the Liberty City PD in Chinatown Wars don't mess around if they see you committing a crime. Like their counterparts in GTA 4, these cops can be evaded simply by steering clear of them or hiding out in a secluded spot for a while. You have another option in Chinatown Wars though, and it's a lot more fun. When your wanted level appears on the screen as a number of stars, an equal number of cop cars appear below them, and every time you manage to destroy a cop car, either by crashing into it or by causing it to crash into something else, it gets a check mark over it. The idea is that if you have a 3-star wanted rating, you can destroy 3 cop cars to knock your rating down a notch, and so on. This makes for some really exciting cop chases through the city because, let's face it, driving offensively is a lot more fun than driving defensively. All of this action plays out on the DS's top screen, where, as you explore the wonderfully detailed Liberty City, you'll find opportunities to make money dealing drugs, to take part in street races, to kill groups of enemies in rampage missions, and even to purchase lottery-style scratch cards with prizes that include health-restoring food, armor and weapons, and even a hotel suite safe house. Meanwhile, on the bottom screen, there's a GPS system that you can use to plot your course through the city, and it works just like a GPS should. Key locations and characters are automatically stored in its database, and you have the option to store your own favorite locations in there as well. On the bottom screen isn't just a GPS. At any time, you can pause the game and essentially use your DS as an in-game PDA, complete with email, access to the ammunition website, information on which gangs are trading which drugs, and a radio that you can use to listen to any of the 5 different stations offering instrumental hip-hop, jazz, electronic, and rock tunes. There's so much to see and do in Chinatown Wars version of Liberty City that you could easily spend 20 or 30 hours getting a 100% clearance rating. The story alone should take you between 9 and 10 hours to get through, maybe even longer if you take the time to make money and buy safe houses, to complete missions for random people on the street, or just to cause trouble and see how many cop cars you can take down. And even once you're done with that stuff, there are multiplayer races, stash dashes, and a cooperative defend the base mode to have some fun with. Chinatown Wars is everything that a Grand Theft Auto game should be, and more. It's crazy to think that we're talking about a DS game here, but this really does feel like the best bits from previous GTA games all rolled into one. And that makes this a very special game indeed.